to advocate for it. Go ahead and Beth.
I wanted to follow up on the questions about the climate and NDC.
Sure.
Secretary Kerry, you talked about how important Glasgow will be in November when all the countries come together to meet to ratify their NDCs. And given the importance of that meeting and the importance, I think, for the United States to demonstrate its commitment to action prior to that, how essential is it that Congress passes the administration's infrastructure plans with the green energy investments in it, given that you're also up here saying the market will kind of take care of this?
I certainly am not trying to apply that. The market's part of it, and the private sector is part of it. And I think that's an important component of the very good question of, how will we ensure that these changes are ingrained in the future? But there is absolutely a role for government to play, some through executive action, some through legislation. The president wants to sign the American Jobs Plan into law this summer. So that gives us ample time, ample room between that timeline and when Glasgow will happen. But we also believe that there are a number of pathways to meeting our goals and meeting our objectives. And we certainly hope to move forward on a number of them in advance of that meeting in November.
So it sounds like you're saying that's not the only way that the U.S. can demonstrate its commitment to action prior to November.
Correct. There are a number of pathways that include steps that can be taken within each sector or steps that can be taken by the government or local governments in partnership with a range of sectors. So we see a range of pathways to get to that, keep moving forward toward that goal.
Just one other question about your response to the initial overtures from Republicans on the infrastructure package. You said you do see that as a good faith effort. It's roughly a quarter of the size top line number that the administration is proposing. Back during the COVID relief talks, when Republicans proposed a number that was roughly a third of what the administration wanted, you dismissed them pretty quickly. What's different about this situation and this policy proposal compared to the relief package, where you seem willing to take Republicans where they are and maybe allow more time for?
Well, I think, one, it's the beginning of a discussion, right? And the next steps will be conversations at the staff level, conversations between senior members of our administration, members of Congress, appropriate committee staff through the course of next week. And then, as I noted, the president will invite members down to the White House. But there are a lot of details to be discussed. The American Rescue Plan, but we do see them differently. The American Rescue Plan was an emergency package. We were trying to deal with what we saw continues to be an emergency fight against a global pandemic, a situation where more than 10 million people were out of work. Obviously, we've seen some progress, still more work to be done. And the president felt it was imperative that the size of that package, the scope of that package met the moment and that it happened quickly. We have a little bit more time here, and we are very open to hearing a range of mechanisms, a range of options for moving this package forward. There could be smaller packages that pass. There could be different mechanisms for moving things forward. And we think it can be done on a bipartisan basis. And so we're looking for the opportunity to do that. Go ahead, Jen.
You mentioned the